Good evening, dear viewers, and welcome to the News Bulletin at 8, brought to you by number 1 news provider, Eswatini TV. I am Nondomiso Vilagati alongside Zamanze Manze. First, let us take a look at today's headlines. The weeding of the Royal Fields has officially commenced. Oho Regional Administrator Pinson Tanzile has given a stern warning to the region's residents against failing to adhere to the COVID-19 regulations when they have events this festive season. Eswatini has had a bloody Christmas this weekend. The news. The weeding of the Royal Field has officially commenced. Warriors weeded at Sihlabeni Royal Field and they adhered to all COVID-19 protocols as the weeding was in progress.
On the first day of the weeding of the Royal Fields, warriors started on a high note at Sihlabeni Royal Field. The first day of the weeding is known as Bubungula. The warriors observed COVID-19 protocols as they carried out the royal duty. The Inkwala ceremony has brought a vast array of benefits for some vendors who sell food items to warriors. They say that with the profits that they have been able to make, they have been able to send their children to school.
Phindze ngiqhubeke nemabhizinisi siqhubeka kubosomhlolo la besebenza khona nakhona phindze uyithola phindze uyocethela esikolweni vele ngifundisele nje abantu abacethile bonke bo form 5 kude ya drop out ile ngenzaba yayo le business enqala
lokuthengisa siqalena kuphuma lisekwane enkabezweni salandela sayana esikhaleni selisekwane sabuya saphinde sayothengisana sebayela ukhunini nakhona sathenga sesilahlabeni yana lokusho ukuthi kuyasita ngoba siyakhona nekufaka abantwana esikolweni siyakhona nekuthi sivalavale ikhaya la kushoda khona la tidingo tethu empilweni. Sibonga kakhulu nje inkosini yethu bana yethi kufanele ukuthi siyahlehla kanye nayo ngana sinithengisela lelibutho layo kufanele ukuthi siyahlehla ngoba ngeke lisebende lilambile.
The warriors proceeded to Lutsitsini royal residence where they danced before calling it a day. Emakosigati to His Majesty the King and Emazinyani took part in the dancing that took place inside the Keklebaya. On Tuesday morning, the Warriors will proceed to Kamazibeke Royal Field.
Usasamajaha Kumasibeke ayatha.
On the news, I am Sandile Makanya reporting with Zweli Masugu at Tutsitsini Royal Residence.
Hoho Regional Administrator Princess Tanzile has given a stern warning to the region's residents against failing to adhere to the COVID-19 regulations when they have events this festive season. The regional administrator reminded them that the pandemic still causes fatalities and that the variants are still highly infectious.
According to the Ministry of Health, during the start of this month, 1,248 people had lost their lives in the kingdom due to the COVID-19 pandemic since its outbreak last year. A statement released by the ministry on Sunday reveals that the number of deaths has reached 1,277, with 29 people having lost their lives due to COVID-19 related illnesses this month alone. Hoho Regional Administrator Princess Tanzile says that deaths due to coronavirus are a cause for concern.
We are still appealing to the people of the region to adhere by the COVID-19 protocols. As we are seeing numbers of infection rising each and every day, people are already dying as we speak. Yesterday we lost 5 people and 3 people were from the Hoho region. So we urge the people to stay alert and do all the protocols stated by the Minister of Health. Also urge the people of the owners of the entertainment places to please play a big role. Make sure they are controlling the crowds in their places because we rely on them. We also urge Eswatini to go out in all numbers to vaccinate because as we are in the festive season, everybody's out there. Some have vaccinated, some have not vaccinated. But even to those who have already vaccinated, we urge them to do all the protocols as dictated by the Minister of Health.
Even though there are still people getting the coronavirus and those losing their lives to it, government's interventions have played a major role in ensuring that the country is at a better position to fight the pandemic. There has been 54,943 recoveries out of 64,443 positive cases recorded in the kingdom. For Eswatini TV News, Nelson Dlangamandla with Mbongwa Dube Mbabane.
Eswatini has had a bloody Christmas weekend. Chief Police Information and Communications Officer Superintendent Pindile Vilagati says around 18 people have died in different ways this weekend. More suspects are expected to appear before court on Tuesday.
Although Christmas is a time of joy and laughter, it has left many in pain as they have lost their loved ones. Chief Police Information and Communications Officer Superintendent Pindile Vilagati says around 18 people have died in different ways over the Christmas weekend.
Singamaphoyisa singathi impela sonke lesuka kuyo ayikabi ngilenhle kahle kulandzela ukuthi sishiwe abantu labangu-18 ngetigigaba letihlukahlukene. Sineke singamaphoyisa kuyaye kube setinhlitweni tethu tekuthi wonke umuntu lokhona evela kangwana phephe ngato tonke tikhathi. Lokhu-ke kusikhombisile ukuthi kukhona lekufuna mhlawumbe sikucinise lapha nalapha sisatiphethe sisive kanjalo-ke nathi singamaphoyisa sisaphoyisa. Labagcine nje bashiya ngekubulalana babe ngu-8 la khona labanye bagwaziwe labanye badutshulwa labanye bashaywa lokufaka khathi kushaywa imoto.
Vilagati says other deaths include 3 who died in fire incidents, a child who was electrocuted on Sunday, and 3 who drowned.
Singathi nje siveni siyacela ukuthi njengalokhu vele imvula isechubeke njalo sibe senkosi asingalokothi siyowela emfuleni noma ngabe sijwayele kangakanani kuhamba kuleto tindzawo ngoba ingoti vele yabonakala ukuthi ikhona. Siyabe solo sikhona ke singemaphoyisa sibukile kuphepha kwasesive nalabo ke labasahlongoda kwenta kuqala sithi asathe lethuba sibekhude sitawube sibuke ngaliso lelikhozi vele tonke tindzawo kwenta siciniseko sokuthi isive senkosi siyaphepha. Siyacela-ke naso sive njengalokhu solo sikuwumkhankaso lothi amaphoyisa nesive abambisene ngedlelwano lobuhle atawulwa nabokucala netingoti.
As courts in Eswatini no longer work on weekends and holidays, suspects in these cases are expected to appear before court on Tuesday. To those who have not yet surrendered themselves to the police for their involvement in any criminal activity, local police always say there is no escaping the long arm of justice. For Eswatini TV News, Temgosi Mavimbela with Fortune Dlangamandla, Mbabane.
A 36-year-old herdman has been arrested after being found in possession of an alleged stolen carcass and dagga. He was arrested by the Mliba police just 4 days before Christmas. He has been granted bail set at 15,000 emalangeni.
Mzwandile Muzifagudze, a 36-year-old herdman, was arrested with his co-accused Sibusiso Gilbert Dlamini, who is a 42-year-old herdman. They stand accused of being found in possession of a carcass which is suspected to have been stolen. They are also accused of being found in possession of dagga weighing 21.09 kg without a permit. They were arrested by the Mliba police on the 20th. They have applied for bail in which they state that they will plead not guilty to the charges they face. Fagutse has told the court that his neighbor Sibusiso Dlamini asked to store meat in his fridge as he had no electricity. He claims that he has since been advised that the meat was of a cow that had been in his co-accused's custody and possession for over 5 years. Fagutse fell ill and it had to be slaughtered to avoid having it die from the illness, resulting in the meat being not fit for consumption. Regarding the dagga charge, he alleges that a cousin them later. Fagutse alleges that he did not know what was contained in the bags and added that the cousin resides in South Africa. He claims that he only learned of the contents of the bags when police came to his house in the company of his co-accused and demanded the meat and dagga. The two accused claim to have 2 children. They told the court that they fear losing employment due to the court then granted them 15,000 bail and ordered that they pay 3,000 cash and provide surety worth 12,000 emalangeni. The matter was before Judge Mbuto Mamba. For Eswatini TV News, Temgosi Mavimbela, Mbabane.
Following the lifting of travel ban related to the Omicron variant by countries in Europe and elsewhere in the world, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has advised the Maswati to consult their travel agencies before visiting those countries. The communications officer Skhumbuzo Pembe says this will help a Maswati to know what is expected of them before traveling to avoid being stranded in foreign.
With the outbreak of the Omicron variant, some countries in Europe and elsewhere imposed travel restrictions and bans for visitors. Some countries have started reviewing some of the restrictions for outside travelers. Hence, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs advises a Maswati to consult their travel agencies before leaving the kingdom.
The COVID regulations or travel restrictions, they keep changing from time to time. So it may be very, very important for a Maswati to keep in contact with their travel agents to ensure that, they are protected when it comes to their traveling. And we also want to say a Maswati, they can contact the ministry for any information that relates to their travel so that we can assist because we are here for you. And also we do have some Swazis who may have purchased their tickets a long time ago and they're very, very keen on traveling. Please ensure that you contact the travel agents. You may wish to postpone your travel as a result of this COVID-19 pandemic, but we wish a Maswati safety when it comes to all this travel, COVID issues.
The United States of America has reported that it will review the travel ban this coming Friday. For Eswatini TV News, Nelson Ndlangamandla with Mbongwa Dube, Mbabane.
The president of the Federation of the Disabled People in Eswatini, Fotswa, Bongani Makama, says there's a great need to visit some of their organizations to find out if they are still carrying out their mandate of ensuring good welfare for people living with disabilities. The president says this is to ensure that all the initiatives and resources meant for people living with disabilities reach them and make a difference in their lives.
The president of the Federation of the Disabled People in Eswatini, Fotswa Bongani Makama, says this year they've been able to help people living with disabilities in many aspects, but there is still a lot that needs to be done to improve their welfare.
Sitawuchinga sibuyele siyobuka letinhlangano tona tebantu abakhubatekile ngokuthi kambe tisasebenta kona yini loko lebetakhelwe kona.
He says apart from revisiting their strategy, there is also a need to ensure that the organizations under Fotswa still serve the needs of people living with disabilities. He continues to say all resources that have been sourced for people living with disabilities should be used for their intended purpose. He further says they are working with relevant stakeholders to ensure that there is data for people living with disabilities because it is only in this way interventions can be effective. He continues to say they are working with stakeholders to push for the finalization of the Disability Act.
I-Disability Act ke isivetela ukuthi kune council lokumele ibe khona. We will be lobbying over it ukuthi ayi-operationalizwe le act.
According to the Deputy Prime Minister's office, Eswatini has about 170,000 people living with disabilities. For Eswatini TV News, Nelson Ndlangamandla with Mbongwa Dube, Mbabane.
Welcome back. You're still watching Eswatini, and for your sports news tonight, Vovovo FC head coach Caleb Ngwenya says he hopes his players have recovered well from losing their director Sipho Bembe. The team will play their first game since the passing of Bembe when they take on Manzini Wanderers in the MTN Premier League.
Vovovo FC lost their director Sipho Bembe. The team will this week play their first game since his passing. The team's head coach Caleb Ngwenya says he hopes his players have recovered well.
I hope my boys are recovering from the I'm hopeful they are going to be strong, but we are preparing very well for the game.
Team captain Tamizulu says it's difficult, but they are trying.
It's difficult, but we are trying. Anyway, Allah liba aseta simos njalo impilo njalo nje. Ayikho lengathini singakusho. But we are trying our best ukuthi yonke umdlalo sodlala manje sibe sise right ingqondo sikhona uku-accepta vele ukuthi sisilahlekele boss, so kumele siphambili impilo yachubeka kanjalo. Ilongo nje.
The team will take on Manzini Wanderers at the Prince of Wales, looking at keeping the momentum going as they are yet to test defeat since the season started. Reporting for Eswatini TV Sports News, I am Patrice MCB with Fumingo Sinzinisa. Babane.
That is all we had for tonight, but before we wrap up, let us take a recap of today's headlines. The weeding of the Royal Fields has officially commenced. Oho Regional Administrator Pinson to the region's residents against failing to adhere to the COVID-19 regulations when they have events this festive season. Eswatini has had a bloody Christmas this weekend. That brings us to the end of our news bulletin tonight. Up next is the weather forecast for selected towns. Good night, Eswatini.